that video, I know what you're doing. Like, I know what you're implying. I know that you're implying that she knew. I know that you're implying that she saw your messages and she ignored it. I know what you're implying.
After the unfortunate reaction of Wizard Liz to Abby's statements about Landon, the hell broke loose as more and more people started siding with Abby and calling Liz not a girl's girl. By the way, I'm Dana and I would really appreciate a sub, so help a friend reach 1K and click that juicy button. Also, if you're not updated on the story, this part 1, this part 2, now this is part 3. As we know so far, Wizard Liz was cheated on by Landon, who had previously been in a relationship with his ex-girlfriend Abby. A relationship that ended for good only a few days before Landon met Liz in person for the first time and proclaimed that he loved her. Abby spoke in detail about her relationship with Landon and received a lot of support for speaking out. However, she dragged Wizard Liz's name into the matter, and let's just say Liz didn't take it well. Understandably so, as the claim Abby made do not help Wizard Liz uphold a persona whose entire brand is built on being someone no one can mess with. One thing led to another, and people didn't like the way Liz addressed Abby, disregarding her claims as lies and making some harsh statements about her, such as accusing her of dating a married sugar daddy. As a result, people have turned against Liz, calling her not a girl's girl. Now, of course, we can never be sure whether Abby is telling us the whole truth or just half truth, but we can work with the evidence that's available and confirmed, and at some point even Landon himself confirms certain details of Abby's story to be true. I mean, at this point, I'm not even surprised. This guy snitches on himself all the time.
I was dealing with, before I met Liz, I was in a relationship that was just so difficult for me. I had this attachment that I had such a hard time like really growing through and away from, and I was just kind of following this path that led me into Ibiza last summer.
Landon finds me in Ibiza, cyber stalking me on Snapchat.
Liz's sister Sabina has recently posted a video speaking out on the matter in defense of her sister Liz. In the video, Sabina states that Abby's claims about Wizard Liz calling her are not true, insisting that Liz is not the kind of woman who would call an ex.
First of all, my sister is not the type of person to call an ex-girlfriend. That's not the type of woman she is. We don't go and call girls and check our phones of our partners. She would never do that.
She also argues that the no caller ID evidence isn't enough proof that Liz was the one who called Abby, which is fair as it's something that can't be definitely proven, so realistically either of them could be lying or telling the truth. However, Sabina goes on to say that Abby was trying to insinuate that Wizard Liz received messages from her and chose to ignore them.
See that video, I know what you're doing. Like, I know what you're implying. I know that you're implying that she knew. I know that you're implying that she saw your messages and she ignored it. I know what you're implying. Everyone on the internet, you can say whatever you want on your videos, but we know what you're implying and what you're trying to do.
Personally, I don't see that insinuation on Abby's side. In fact, Abby even mentions in her video that Wizard Liz is famous and likely receives a large number of DMs daily, so there's a high chance she simply didn't see it.
So it took me a month. It took me a month to even wanting to respond to her, but I did DM her and I did try to warn her, and she didn't answer. Like, she's fucking famous, you know, like she probably didn't see it. I didn't know to DM anyone else. I was just like, you know what, I tried, it's off my hands.
Sabina also states that when her friend tried to comment on Abby's video to say that her statements weren't true, the comments kept getting deleted.
And if you were really a girl's girl and you really wanted you know, to come to Liz her defense or whatever, share your story, then why are you deleting the comments of our friends when they're saying like, hey, she never called you?
Now, that's definitely possible, but it's worth noting that Sabina doesn't provide any evidence to back up that claim. Liz's sister also implies that Abby is doing all of this for clout and is on purpose dragging Wizard Liz's name into the situation because Liz is a hot topic now. She tries to discredit Abby as a girl girl, suggesting that Abby's intentions were self-serving from the start and that she doesn't actually care about Liz or what happened to her. Interestingly, this is something Landon also said in one of his posts. Now, is it convenient time for Abby to post all of this? For sure. She's getting a lot of coverage and exposure, and as someone who works in media for a living, that's always a good thing. However, we can't ignore the fact that if she had spoken out earlier when Landon and Liz were all over social media showcasing their relationship, she likely would have been torn apart by both Liz, Landon, and their fanbase. So it generally does take a lot of courage to speak out about something that happened to you in front of millions of people. Now, of course, I'm not denying that Abby's motivations might include a mix of things, like exposure, getting back at Landon, wanting to warn others, or simply telling her truth.
And I'm doing this because it needs to be said. There needs to be truth of what's behind.
Sabina goes on to claim that Wizard Liz did in fact try to message Abby but discovered she was blocked. To support this, Sabina shows that Liz is unable to find Abby on Instagram. Now, when someone can't find another user on Instagram, the most common reasons are that the person deactivated their account, they changed their username, their account was banned or suspended, or that they blocked you. Given that Abby's account is still active and accessible to others, and she hasn't changed her username or been banned, the only remaining explanation that fits Liz's situation is that Abby blocked her. There is a theory floating around that since Landon is a tech guy, he may have done something behind the scenes like muting Abby's posts or manipulating Instagram visibility to make Abby's profile vanish from Liz's view. And while Instagram does allow muting or other restrictions, the AI suggests that it does not allow a third party to entirely remove someone's account from search results or make them appear invisible to another user unless they are blocked. However, if you're a tech person, please comment. Now, Sabina also claims in the video that Wizard Liz was never a relationship coach and that people saying so are lying.
What are these lies? Like, people are just making up stuff. People are calling her a relationship coach, a dating coach. Like, when has she ever talked about relationships? Like, the only thing my sister talks about is literally standing up for yourself. She talks to people who have been victims of abuse. When has she ever talked about love?
I beg to differ on that point. While she may not be a formally trained professional, Liz often provides advice to women about relationships.
Try dating a broke guy. Those men have no money, but they have audacity. One thing in life that broke men have is audacity.
Girl, that just focus on yourself, and if you want to date other people. Why are you only dating one person? I don't get it. Like, why is literally one person you're only on?
Sabina mentions that the only reason Liz came forward to her fans about the cheating and what happened to her is because she wants to be very honest and transparent with her audience.
The reason that Liz brought this to the internet and said that Landon cheated was because she's always been very transparent with her fan base. From the beginning of her career, she's always been very honest. She has never portrayed this perfect life or a facade. She's been honest about her. She's been literally, every time she has a fight, or even with my mom or with me or whatever, she is the type of person that goes and shares that with her fan base, because that's the type of relationship that they have.
Now, I think anyone would want to avoid this kind of drama spreading, especially when their entire career is built on being a strong woman with strong intuition and on giving advice to others on how to be like her. News like this being out there is completely devastating to her career. So, of course, coming out and saying it yourself first is a lesser blow to her career than having someone else come forward and share screenshots of messages exchanged between her partner and a random woman on the internet, which Sabina actually confirms herself.
And even if she didn't share that, some stuff would come out and then she would also be the bad guy, because in these situations women always get the blame for whatever they do. No matter what she does, she will get the blame.
Many people have commented that it's strange Liz defends Landon in her posts and that she probably wants him back. However, her sister addresses this criticism by explaining that just because what he did was wrong, it doesn't mean Liz wishes him the worst.
People are getting upset about the fact that my sister goes and says that, hey, stop sending this man, who is, by the way, the father of her child, who is also, by the way, someone she loved very deeply, tells them hey, stop the threats. You guys are canceling her for that?
Even in her posts, Liz called it the best year of her life and says that she doesn't regret any of it, but she clearly states that she never wanted to be betrayed like that. The thing with Liz is that everything she says is very paradoxical. She says she doesn't want to send him any hate, yet she posts about the situation publicly. She says she doesn't want the father of her child to be pestered by online haters or sent threats, yet she posts a clip featuring Joe Goldberg on her story, fully aware that many people online are referring to London as Joe Goldberg, which only adds fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, Liz addresses her fans in a smirky post that sounded like a dig at them for loving her one day and hating on her the next, essentially implying that she doesn't care because she still gets the bag. Again, this is very paradoxical because just a few posts earlier, Liz posted about how much she loves her fans, only to turn around and say their opinion doesn't matter as long as she's getting the money. It's understandable that public figures often face sudden shifts in public opinion, especially online, where people can be quick to judge and follow the majority without fully examining the facts. However, in this situation, some of the criticism directed at Wizard Liz doesn't appear entirely unwarranted. She publicly accused Abby of lying and made serious claims such as Abby being involved with a married man, which could be seen as an attempt to discredit her. Given that the backlash Liz is now facing may be simply a reflection of how she chose to respond to the situation.